Another day, another story. A little-known chamber concealed behind the head of Abraham Lincoln was intended to contain a shrine to America. Mount Rushmore is a famous sculpture carved into the granite face of Mount Rushmore National Memorial in South Dakota, USA. Welcome to Taboo Eminent Channel. It features the heads of 4 United States presidents: George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, and Theodore Roosevelt. The idea of a secret chamber inside Mount Rushmore is a popular myth and conspiracy theory, often featured in books, movies, and other forms of popular culture. However, there is no factual basis for this claim. The sculpture was created by sculptor Gutzon Borglum and his son Lincoln Borglum between 1927 and 1941. The entire structure was carefully planned and engineered, but there is no evidence to suggest the presence of any hidden chambers or secret rooms within the monument. It's essential to approach such claims critically and rely on credible sources and evidence-based information when discussing historical sites and monuments. On Halloween in 1941, the 14-year effort to carve the enormous profiles of 4 American presidents, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, and Theodore Roosevelt, into the southeastern face of Mount Rushmore was finally completed. However, one little-known, but critical, element of Danish-American sculptor Gutzon Borglum's Shrine of Democracy sculpture was left unfinished and remains concealed from view behind Lincoln's mighty brow. Carved into the solid granite wall of a small canyon running right behind the presidential lineup is an 18-foot-tall doorway that resembles the entrance to an ancient tomb of an Egyptian pharaoh. Anyone crossing the threshold would discover an empty room approximately 75 feet in length with a 35-foot-tall ceiling. Holes jack-hammered into the walls to hold dynamite for blasting lend a honeycomb effect. Red numbers, perhaps painted by Borglum himself, give instructions for the removal of rocks. Borglum had intended for this incomplete chamber to be, in essence, his artist's statement explaining the meaning of his sculpture, not for present generations but for future civilizations, and even interplanetary visitors, thousands of years in the future. You might as well drop a letter into the world's postal service without an address or signature, as to send that carved mountain into history without identification, the sculptor wrote. While the 4 faces carved on Mount Rushmore are instantly recognizable even to school kids today, Borglum thought they might one day become as mysterious as Stonehenge. Each succeeding civilization forgets its predecessor, he lamented. Civilizations are ghouls. The sculpture's early plans for Mount Rushmore included next to Washington's head a massive 80 by 120-foot inscription in the shape of the Louisiana Purchase that would list 9 of the most important events in the history of the United States between 1776 and 1906. However, even with the most astronomical of point sizes, the text would not have been legible at great distances, and ultimately logistics required that portion of the mountain to be used for Lincoln's head. Borglum abandoned the inscription and instead drew up plans to build a repository deep within the mountain that would hold some of America's most treasured artifacts and documents, such as the Declaration of Independence. The sculptor envisioned a grand, 800-foot-long staircase ascending Mount Rushmore that would lead to a glorious chamber called the Hall of Records. Into this room, the records of what our people aspired to and what they accomplished should be collected, Borglum wrote, and on the walls of this room should be cut the literal record of conception of our republic. Its successful creation, the record of its westward movement to the Pacific, its presidents, how the memorial was built, and frankly, why. Visitors to the Hall of Records would enter through great glass doors over which would be perched a bronze eagle with a 38-foot wingspan and the inscription, America's Onward March. A cross pointing to the North Star was to be mounted upon the vaulted ceiling, and friezes on the wall would depict the adventure of humanity discovering and occupying the West world. An inscription written by John Edward Bradley, who won a national contest sponsored by the Hearst newspapers, would detail the history of the country from its founding through the construction of the Panama Canal. Bronze and glass cabinets in the recesses of the 80 by 100-foot chamber would hold documents such as the U.S. Constitution. There would be busts of more than 20 prominent Americans, ranging from Benjamin Franklin and John Hancock to Alexander Graham Bell and the Wright brothers. In July 1938, workers began to cut into the rock on the north wall of a small canyon concealed by the presidential faces to build Borglum's American Shrine. However, a year into the construction, the federal government, which covered nearly all the cost of constructing the monument, tightened the purse strings and ordered Borglum to stop work on the Hall of Records and focus his full efforts on completing the presidential profiles. 7 months after the 73-year-old sculptor died in March 1941, Borglum's son Lincoln led the effort to finish the carving of the 4 presidents. The Mount Rushmore National Monument was deemed to be complete, although Borglum's ultimate plan and the Hall of Records remained unfinished. Borglum's hopes for the Hall of Records were at least partially fulfilled on August 9, 1998, when 4 generations of his family gathered in the incomplete chamber as 16 porcelain enamel panels were added to the site. The panels were inscribed with the words of documents such as the Declaration of Independence, biographies of the sculptor and his presidential subjects, and histories of the memorial's construction in the United States. They were placed inside a teakwood box and titanium vault and lowered into the ground. The site was then covered by a 1,200-pound black granite capstone inscribed with a quote from Borglum delivered at the 1930 dedication of the carving of Washington. "It's the end of the creation of Mount Rushmore as my father saw it," said Borglum's daughter, Mary Ellis. The secret beneath the stone. In the heart of the Black Hills of South Dakota, beneath the stoic gaze of Mount Rushmore, there existed a secret that had been hidden for centuries. The legends whispered of a hidden chamber within the depths of the mountain, a place where ancient artifacts and knowledge were said to be preserved. Few believed the tale, dismissing it as mere folklore. However, Dr. Amelia Thornton, an adventurous archaeologist with a passion for uncovering historical mysteries, took these legends seriously. Guided by old maps, cryptic inscriptions, and her unyielding determination, she embarked on a daring expedition to unearth the truth. With her trusted team, Amelia began excavating the base of the monument, carefully avoiding the watchful eyes of tourists and park rangers. Day after day, they toiled, digging deeper into the granite rock, inching closer to the heart of the mountain. Finally, after weeks of labor, they discovered an ancient door concealed behind layers of stone. As the heavy door creaked open, a rush of stale air filled their lungs. Inside, they found a vast chamber adorned with intricate carvings and illuminated by the soft glow of ancient crystals. The chamber was a treasure trove of knowledge, containing scrolls, artifacts, and advanced technology far beyond their understanding. Amelia and her team delved into the mysteries of the chamber, deciphering forgotten languages and decoding enigmatic texts. They learned that the chamber was created by an advanced civilization that had once thrived in the Black Hills, long before recorded history. This ancient society, known as the Guardians of Wisdom, had sought to preserve their knowledge for future generations. Among the artifacts, they discovered a device that could harness the energy of the stars, a discovery that could revolutionize the world. However, they soon realized that such power came with great responsibility. The Guardians of Wisdom had hidden their creations to prevent them from falling into the wrong hands, fearing the devastating consequences of misuse. Amelia faced a moral dilemma. Should she share this newfound knowledge with the world, risking its misuse, or should she safeguard the secrets, preserving them for the future? After much contemplation, she made her decision. With a heavy heart, Amelia chose to protect the secrets of the chamber. She sealed the entrance once more, leaving behind a message for future generations, warning of the dangers of unchecked power. As she emerged from the mountain, she carried with her the wisdom of the ancients, a burden and a privilege that reminded her of the importance of knowledge, responsibility, and the enduring mysteries of the world. And so, Mount Rushmore stood silently, its granite faces concealing not only the visages of presidents but also the secrets of a civilization long forgotten, waiting for a time when humanity might be ready to embrace the wisdom of the past. The Guardians of Democracy. In a world where democracy teetered on the brink of collapse, 4 unlikely heroes emerged from the shadows of Mount Rushmore. The legend spoke of a hidden chamber within the iconic monument, a chamber that held the key to preserving the very essence of democracy itself. As political tensions and divisions threatened to tear the nation apart, a group of young activists stumbled upon cryptic clues that hinted at the existence of the chamber. They were inspired by the idea that within the heart of Mount Rushmore lay a secret that could change the course of history. Armed with determination and a sense of purpose, the group embarked on a quest to unearth the chamber. They believed that if they could unlock its secrets, they might find a way to heal the nation's wounds and protect the ideals of freedom and equality. Their journey was fraught with challenges. They faced government agents who sought to keep the chamber hidden and shadowy organizations determined to exploit its power for their own gain. But the group pressed on, guided by the belief that the Guardians of Democracy, as the legends referred to them, would reveal the truth. After months of perilous exploration, they finally uncovered the entrance to the hidden chamber. Inside, they found an underground sanctuary adorned with symbols of liberty and justice. At the center of the chamber stood 4 pedestals, each engraved with the names of the Mount Rushmore presidents. As they approached the pedestals, a mysterious energy enveloped them. The very spirits of George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, and Theodore Roosevelt seemed to awaken. In a transcendent moment, the guardians of democracy imparted their wisdom. The group learned that the chamber held not just knowledge but also the power of unity and compromise, the very principles upon which their democracy was built. The spirits urged them to bridge the divide that threatened their nation and reminded them that democracy thrived when people came together to find common ground. Armed with this newfound wisdom, the group returned to the surface, determined to heal their fractured nation. They organized town hall meetings, encouraged open dialogue, and worked tirelessly to build bridges between opposing factions. Slowly but surely, they began to mend the rifts that had torn the country apart. The story of the chamber within Mount Rushmore became a symbol of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest times, the ideals of democracy could prevail. The nation began to heal, and the guardians of democracy were celebrated as heroes who had saved their way of life. As the years passed, the chamber remained hidden, a testament to the enduring power of democracy and the belief that the ideals of freedom and equality were worth protecting at any cost. It's one part of Mount Rushmore, however, that few people can see today. Due to safety and security concerns, visitors are prohibited from scaling the mountain to view the Hall of Records. Thanks for watching.